This is my 1997 Dodge Viper. I've had it for nearly a year now, and ever since I got it, I've been getting one question more than any other. Can you daily drive a Dodge Viper? Can you drive a Viper every day? Is it possible to commute in a Dodge Viper? And most of all, hey YouTube idiot, can you drive a Viper every day? So today, I've decided to answer that question with a series of tests. And click the link below to go to autotrader.com/oversteer for more of my thoughts about daily driving a Viper and for a story about whether you can daily drive a few other affordable exotics. One of the most important questions you'll have for a car you want to drive every day is whether it can carry all of your stuff. So today I've gone to Home Depot and I've bought a bunch of stuff. And now I'm going to fit it in the Viper. We'll start with paper towels. This thing, duct, I don't know what this is. This little worm-looking dryer connection thing. Milk crate. Bubble wrap. American flag. This is, after all, a Viper. Squeegee. Rubber duck nightlight. Water bottle. And tiki torch. Ta-da! The Viper is more practical than you might think. Yes, it's a low-slung, exotic two-seat sports car, but the back here is actually pretty big. Another thing that makes this Viper daily drivable is its reliability. Now, if you've been following along the entire time I've had this car, you'll know that I've had some issues with it. I've had to tow it a couple of times, but that's mainly been because this car had the original radiator and cooling hoses, which are known to be crap. Once I replaced them, this car has been fine. And there's a lot of support in the Viper community and in the forums and the clubs for all the common issues this car might have. Once you address them, these things are pretty robust. Most importantly, you don't need some specialized service center with specialized tools and some specialized mechanic who charges $547 specialized dollars per hour in order to work on this car. I service this thing at a place called Tommy's. I'm serious, that's the name. They also service my buddy's E36 M3 race car. And I was thinking, well, this would be a great place to service the Viper. But last time when I was in there, they were also doing a Ford dump truck. And that's what it is. That's all you need in order to service one of these. Finally, parts are cheap. Back when I had my Aston Martin last year, a new clutch was $4,000 in parts alone. This car, you can put in a new clutch, including labor, for under $2. Nothing is all that expensive. A lot of stuff is shared with regular Dodge cars, and the parts that aren't just are not incredibly expensive. When this car came out, you have to remember, it was built by plucky Midwesterners, and they just don't overcharge for stuff. It simply isn't in their nature. Now, for some people, that's all there is. Is it reliable? Can it carry my stuff? Well then, heck yeah, I can daily drive it. And if you're like that, stop watching right now because the answer to this question is yes. For the rest of us, there are a few more tests that a daily driver must pass. One of them is interior comfort. Now you'll notice that I have no trouble getting into the Viper. It's not one of those exotic cars you have to do weird acrobatics to get inside. And once you're inside, I'm actually really impressed with how comfortable the seats are. They're like this weird combination of overstuffed leather chair and grippy sports seat. It's awesome. But there are a few other comfort issues that the Viper suffers from. Now, interestingly enough, headroom is not one of them. Because of the double bubble roof design, which was created so that you could get inside the car with a helmet, my head fits in here just fine. I have a couple of inches between my head and the roof. The problem comes with my knee. Now, I'm pretty tall, so not everybody will have this problem, but if you are a taller person, when you shut the door, your knee suddenly is right up against the dashboard and the door, which is not very comfortable. It also makes it hard to put on the turn signal, hard to make a left turn because your hand hits your knee, but most importantly, it's probably not the safest thing in the world having your knee literally half of an inch away from all this stuff that would come into it if you were to be in an accident. Next up is ride comfort. And I'm just going to tell you right now, the Viper is not a car that you want to drive over bumpy roads. Allow me to demonstrate. You think that looked bad from the outside? Here's what it felt like on the inside. Now, one of the things that many people look for in a daily driver is good fuel economy, especially if it's a car that they have to commute in every single day. And the Viper is just about as far from good fuel economy as you could possibly get. Now, a few months ago, I did a video where I drove the Viper around the city to see what its normal fuel economy would be, and then I took it on the highway and hypermiled it to see the results under optimal conditions. In case you haven't seen that video, here's a little refresher. I think we'll get less than 11, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
There's no way, especially in this kind of city driving. This is the worst city driving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right, here we go. Let me do the calculation here. And the moment of truth, the final result is 5.6 miles per gallon city we got today driving around town. 5.6. Now, I'm going to take it on the highway for a couple of hours and I'm going to hypermile it to see what kind of gas mileage it could get under the best possible circumstances. Oh man, we're above 1500 RPM. That is not where I want to live. Everybody's staring at us. They're like, why is this guy in this Viper going 47 miles an hour? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I'm getting 30 miles per gallon. And the number is, 18.7. That's as good as it's gonna get. I can't do any better than that, 18.7. Here are some numbers that will absolutely shock you. The Dodge Viper has more ground clearance than the Honda Odyssey. I'm serious, I'm not making this up, I'm not exaggerating. Look it up yourself if you want. The Honda Odyssey has 4.5 inches of ground clearance and the Dodge Viper has 5 inches, which would be great for this car's practicality, except that ground clearance doesn't really tell the whole story. You see, more important for driving around every day than ground clearance is approach angle, and the approach angle in this Viper is really not so good on account of the fact that it has this giant front lip that sticks way out. Like the whole car has been having collagen injections. All right, are we gonna make it? Are we gonna make it? Yeah, yes! Okay, so my Viper made it over that, but if you go underneath and look around under the bumper, you'll find that there have been some times in the past where my Viper wasn't quite so lucky, which is not fun if you're driving it every day. Now, some of you live in areas where the weather isn't so good some of the time, like, for example, Chicago. And some of you live in areas where the weather is so horrifically bad that you don't want to go outside for about 11 months of the year. Now, I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to make anybody mad, but I'm talking about Buffalo. Now, if you live up there, the Viper might not be the car for you, as I demonstrated in an earlier video. Okay, our first performance test is going to be flat out acceleration. I'm going to slam on the gas pedal and just see how the Viper handles. Well, that went well. Now I'm going to try turning and flooring the accelerator because I'm sure that'll go a lot better. All right, time to crank it. Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of traction in these conditions. Another problem with the Viper is sitting in traffic, as I shall explain. The thing about traffic in this car is the clutch is pretty heavy. It's not obscenely heavy for a sports car, but it's not light by any means. It's not the kind of clutch you'd want to operate in heavy traffic all the time. The other thing is there's a ton of travel in the clutch. When you push it down, it just goes really, really far down into the floor. which can cause kind of an issue if you're short. You got to be sitting really close so that your legs can push it all the way down. But mostly the really annoying thing about traffic in a car like this is just the fact that it's a stick shift and you got to be on the clutch, then off the clutch, then on the clutch, then off the clutch. We're going, we're moving, we're going like 18, and now back on the clutch, and we come to a stop. The other annoying thing about the Viper in traffic is that it has this skip shift thing that I just can't imagine anybody intelligent would have devised. If you're starting out in first, as you always are, you can't shift into second unless you get over a certain RPM. Until you get over that RPM, it forces you to go into fourth, I think to save gas. And so you're constantly like, am I ready to shift into second, or is it gonna force me into fourth? It's kind of annoying. So now we go again, let the clutch out, push it forward, and we're back up to a stop. Now, one of the things you might be interested in if you're looking for a car that you can drive every day is safety equipment in the event that you get into an accident. Here's my friend Filippo, and he has a list of safety features, and he's going to read them off to me, and I'm going to let him know if the Viper has them or not. Go ahead.
All right, anti-lock brakes,
No.
side airbags,
No.
traction control,
No.
stability control.
No.
What about forward collision warning?
No.
Parking sensors,
No.
backup camera,
No.
blind spot monitoring.
No.
Does it have any safety features at all?
It has doors. And so, following this highly scientific test, let it be decreed that you cannot drive a Dodge Viper every single day. Of course, really, it all kind of depends on your circumstances. If you're living in upstate New York and you're looking for a car to drive year-round to your job at the paper towel factory, 47 miles one way, this isn't it. But if you live in Arizona where the roads are wide and the weather is warm and you don't have a commute, you work from home like me, you wake up and your first thought every morning is whether you're going to put pants on that day, then yes, you could probably daily drive a Viper, as long as your driveway isn't too steep and you're not too tall and the roads around where you live aren't that rough and you don't mind paying a lot of money for fuel bills, and maybe if you wear a helmet and also shoulder pads.